And good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's had a good week so far. Thank you for joining. I have 7:01, so we'll go ahead and get started. And so this evening, we are going to discuss the 4+1 program. Next slide, please. And so we'll first start off with a welcome and introductions. We'll give an overview of the program. We'll hear from some students, their testimonial about the 4+1 program. And then we're really going to leave a lot of time for you all to ask any questions and get some answers to those questions. So we'll start off with doing our introductions.
Okay. Well, Dr. King, why don't you go ahead since you're since you're still talking, and then I'll join.
Okay. Well, good evening again, everyone. I'm Dr. King, and I serve as the undergraduate program director for the Population Health Sciences Department. I am a clinical associate professor in population health sciences, and I have been at GSU since about 2018 now. So, and I mostly teach in the undergraduate program. So, Dr. Armstrong Mensah, I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Dr. King. So I'm Dr. Elizabeth Armstrong Mensah, Clinical Associate Professor and Undergraduate Program Director with the Department of Health Policy and Behavioral Sciences. Denise, passing it over to you.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. My name is Denise Gouveia. I am the Director of Academic Assistance here in the School of Public Health. Our area is responsible for advisement for seniors that are undergrad. We also advise MPH and graduate certificate students. And I'll pass it over to James.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is James Smith. I'm one of the undergraduate advisors here at the School of Public Health. I've been serving students at GSU since 2019. Passing it on to Cami.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cami Burns, and I am an undergraduate advisor within the School of Public Health. And I'm passing it over to Aaliyah.
Hi everyone, my name is Aaliyah and I am a former 4+1 student. So you guys will be hearing from me a little bit later tonight, and I will pass it on to Hermela.
Thank you, Aaliyah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hermela Shamendi. I am a current MPH student here at Georgia State with a concentration in health promotion and behavior, and I serve as the GRA for both Dr. Armstrong Mensah and Dr. King.
All right, thank you so much. So yeah, we'll turn it on over to James to talk to us and give us an overview of the program.
All right, so I'm up first, y'all. So I'm gonna give y'all an overview of the program as Dr. King just mentioned. So next slide, please. The 4+1 program is a dual degree program that allows students to take up to 16 credit hours of approved graduate level courses that can be applied to both their undergrad degree and their graduate degree. Next slide, please. So this will give you the opportunity to earn your master's degree in potentially 5 years. You would save time and money, and this would also give you direct admission into the MPH program here at GSU. To participate, you need to successfully completed a bachelor's degree, an overall 3.0 GPA or better, completion of 9 hours of approved MPH level courses taken on the bachelor's degree term, and have earned a B or better in each of those on your first attempt. Next slide, please. To be eligible to apply to the program or into the 4+1 program, you need to complete an application for consideration, of course, have earned at least 75 credit hours, but no more than 110, have a minimum GPA of a 3.0, and that's overall, that means institutional and cumulative outside GSU and outside of GSU. Provide names of at least 2 faculty members that can speak to your ability to do the work. Complete a personal statement and submit a copy of your unofficial transcript. And if you can, submit a copy of your academic evaluation. Next slide. You're muted, Cami.
Thanks, James. So as James mentioned, you'll have the opportunity to take 16 credit hours worth of master's courses. Here are some of the courses that you can take: epidemiology for public health, fundamentals of biostatistics, health promotion, planning, administration, and evaluation, environmental health, fundamentals of health systems, leadership, and policy. After you get admitted to the 4+1 program, you're going to have a meeting with advising, and we're going to ask you guys about which concentration you're most interested in as far as the master's program. And that will help us guide you on what courses you should prioritize first once you get into the program. But of course, you have free reign of taking any of these courses once you get into the program. Next slide, please. All right, so students have two options of where these master's courses will apply. So one of those options is in the elective space. You have 15 credit, of course, as you know, to use as elective space. So you can apply your MPH courses here. Next slide, please. Or you can use the dual degree section that will be added to your academic evaluation after you get into the program. This is a better option for those students that are pre-med because you need your elective space to use for pre-med courses. You can use the dual degree section for your MPH courses. Next slide. And I'm passing it over to Ms. Denise.
Okay, so this is the contact information for our advisors here in the School of Public Health. These are undergraduate advisors. And we do advise seniors, but we also will work with the 4+1 students to determine, advise you on what to take, and help you also connect you with graduate advisors once you select your concentration. So we're located in the Urban Life Building. We're in Suite 300. Our general email is publichealthadvising@gsu.edu, and there's some other, it's our website, our phone numbers there. And we do offer the walk-in appointments on Mondays and Thursdays from 2:30 to 3:30, and then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Next slide, please. And these are our graduate advisors that I mentioned. Jonathan Key and Kelsey Abner. These are the concentrations that each of those advisors are responsible for. So if you are in the 4+1 and you're interested in any of these concentrations in the Department of Health Policy and Behavioral Sciences, such as health management and policy, health promotion and behavior, you will contact Jonathan and you could set up an appointment with him to talk about that transition. But I always advise you to speak with your undergrad advisor first before speaking with your grad advisor. And Kelsey Abner is the graduate advisor for the Department of Population Health Sciences, and her MPH concentrations are below: biostatistics, environmental health, and epidemiology. And she also advises for the grad certificate in public health. So usually 4+1 students are not doing the grad certificate. Some might, but usually they don't. They're going straight from the bachelor's into the full master's program. Next slide. And then we have some additional links here regarding the program. So you might want to take a quick snapshot of this slide. We probably want to hold this slide for a moment so folks can probably take a picture of this slide of some of our important links. There's information about the BS MS MPH program. There's a link to the catalog where you can find that information. A link to the Office of Academic Assistance in the School of Public Health, and the MPH program, of course. Next slide. Okay, so now we're going to segue into our student testimonial. So I will turn that over at this point.
Okay. Aaliyah.
I can start off. So, once again, it's nice to meet everyone. My name's Aaliyah, and I am a former 4+1 student. I actually graduated with my master's degree in health policy and management in May 2025. So, it's been almost a full year since I graduated from the program. I will say that the biggest decision for me when it came to deciding whether or not I was going to do the 4+1 program was that I knew that I wanted to get my master's degree. That was something I had already been decided on, and I was looking at programs post grad. So this opportunity had come for me at the perfect time. So one of the big reasons why I decided to go with it is A, because it was easier application process as opposed to say you graduate, then you have to wait a bit and refill out applications for a bunch of different schools, wait to hear back, get rejections, things along those lines. So being able to like streamline the process and have a good sense of whether or not I was going to get in within, for me, would be a timely manner was one of the biggest decisions that kind of led to this. And then another reason there was actually funding as well. I was a Zell Miller student, so Zell Miller covered all of my tuition while I was an undergrad. And while you're taking the 16 graduate courses, while you're still an undergrad, Zell Miller will cover that as well. So for me, it was a financially sound decision to allow Zell Miller to pay for about like a third of my degree and then only have to figure out how to pay for the rest of it once I transitioned into the master's degree. So that's kind of like an overview of my experience. If you guys have more like detailed questions you want to ask towards the end, I'll be happy to answer. But I'll pass it over to her Mala so she could talk about her experience.
So
Um,
so I actually didn't do the 4+1 program, but I highly encourage it as someone who heard about the opportunity. As I just missed the deadline, I wish I was able to take advantage of it. So I do say look into it, speak to your advisors because they'll give you more of a confirmation of whether or not it's something that you should do or not, and if it's feasible for you. But I encourage you to do it.
mm, all right. So thank you very much, Aliyah and Hemela. And I think the next thing you want to do is to answer any questions that you may have for us. And at this point, I'm going to ask you to post your questions in the chat. And Denise, could you facilitate the chat for us, the Q&A for us? Do you see the chat?
I can, hold on one second. Let me see, yeah. See
It was up
anything
a
in
few
the
minutes
chat?
ago.
Or if you don't have a question in the chat, perhaps you can raise your hand and we can
Yeah.
select who has. It's a little difficult to see with the
Yeah, I think okay.
oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way for it to apply for it in the fall? Yes. So we do accept students into the 4+1 in the spring and in the fall. So there will be another opportunity, usually right around the beginning of the fall semester. That information will be published as to when the application will open and close. And usually we're making the decisions, I would say, is it November or I would say either late October, early November, something like that. We would be able to notify you if you're accepted in for the spring. So we do it for both fall and spring. The spring deadline, the spring deadline for the application. I can't remember that off the top of my head.
I think it's March 2nd.
March 2nd. Oh,
Correct. It's March 2nd.
Yes,
It's
it is
coming
March.
up.
March 2nd.
wonderful. Thank you all. And then, of course, so there's still a little bit of time. You've got like a couple of weeks to get an application in. So the sooner you start that process, the better. Okay, do we have any other questions? I'm not gonna answer. I'm gonna let Dr. Armstrong Mensa answer this question.
Jay, is it unwise to utilize Dr. Armstrong Mensa as your, let's see, question just went up. Well, the response is it's not unwise, but it's just that it will be a conflict of interest, right? Since I serve on the committee that that reviews the application and then does the selection. So the word is not unwise, but it's just that it will be a conflict of interest. I hope I answered your question.
So we have another question. Will we go to our graduation for our bachelor's degree and then get our bachelor's program, then come back the next semester to start? Or do we go straight into the program and get both bachelor's and master's degree at the same time at the end of this program? That's a great question. You actually finish your bachelor's degree first before starting in the master's program, because one of the prerequisites for starting the master's program is you must have an undergraduate degree. In order to make that transition, you must first earn your bachelor's degree, and then usually there's, depending on if you meet the criteria, there could be a direct admit process to move you into the master's program. But let's say, for instance, you were only able to take 2 instead of 3 of the graduate courses. So you're going to want to keep that in mind to know how to apply to the master's program. But there is some form of an application at any instance. But you do finish your bachelor's usually while taking these grad courses, and then once you're finished with your bachelor's, and you move into the full MPH program, and you can finish that one afterwards. The next question is, if you are in the program, can you still do study abroad opportunities for undergraduate courses? I'm gonna let one of our program directors answer this one.
Well, the way I see it, I mean, you definitely will have to do signature experience, right? And so you can use 4992 to study abroad, and then if you do have space, but the thing is, and Cami and James and Denise, correct me if I'm wrong, you need space within your electives to be able to take the master's courses, right? So at this point, if you really want to do study abroad, you might be looking at using 4992 to travel. Am I correct, Cami, James?
I'm gonna chime in with that. So for using 4992 is the optimizable way to get that done.
Yeah.
But you can take the study abroad elective course, because we have room to move your 4+1 courses down into the dual degree box. So not all of your 4+1 courses have to fall into that elective space, because sometimes students come in with elective space already taken up.
Okay, so I hope that answers that question about study abroad. Shaman Mark is asking, are we limited to those master's courses you listed earlier, or will there be more you can apply for? So as a part of the 4+1 program, you are limited to the courses that you can take at the master's level. They're usually the core courses for the master's program. So that's setting you up to then move on to courses. Once you get into the master's program, then you no longer have to take the core, because you've already taken the core, but you are limited to that as a 4+1 student. And how binding is this program? What if I decide not to get my master's closer to my graduation? Some students in the 4+1 do not continue on. Most do, but some do not. You're not forced to do your MPH if you are an 4+1 student. And I let others chime in on that, but no, it does not bind you and force you to then you must participate in the MPH program upon your graduation from the bachelor's program. Questions? These are great questions, by the way, you guys.
Mhm.
But sometimes there's a lot of confusion in how to go from one level to the other. And so these are really great questions. So they're waiting to see if there are any more, and I don't know if anybody has any.
I would like to take a second to emphasize that shift of going from one level to the next, if that's okay, Denise.
Yes, please.
So in reference to that shift of going from one level to the next, there is a direct admit application that you will have to complete in order to get transition into the MPH program. It's basically stating that you are intending to do this master's program, and you would select your intended concentration on that form, and there's no cost to it. But you have to complete that in order to make that switch.
And I can just add to that not everyone is going to have that opportunity. You have to complete at least 3 courses on the master's level with a grade of B or better on your first attempt to qualify for that direct admit process. So there is a way to easily move into the master's program, but we do have some students that either do not get a B or better on their first attempts, and then they must apply through the regular MPH application process, which is a bit more complicated than the direct admit. So for students who either do not complete their courses, the B or better on their first attempt, or some students, because they're by the time they join the 4+1 student program, they don't have a lot of space to actually take the graduate courses, so they may end up taking 1 or 2 graduate courses, not 3. So they would have to apply the regular way to the MPH program. Any more questions? This is the time. We're all here and able to answer your questions that you may have. Okay. Okay, so the next question. So for that admit process, is it a similar process to how you apply the regular way, or after you finish your bachelor's, does it transition you? If you're talking about direct admit, we're usually looking for you in your graduation semester from the bachelor's program. That's when we're tagging you and prompting you, if you're qualifying at that point, to, hey, reach out to your undergrad advisor. They're going to guide you through that process of how to do direct admit if you do qualify for it. So when you're in your final semester, you're at the start of your final semester in the bachelor's program, you're getting ready to graduate. That's when we're looking for you for that transition process. That's when you come on our radar and we look to see if you possibly qualify. Sometimes we are proactively reaching out to you to say, hey, you qualify for this. If you plan to do your MPH with us, here's how you do it. Here's how you transition. And I see a question here from Ariana. Will the recording be sent to us? Posts?
Well, we are recording, and we have had instances where we thought we were recording to the cloud and we didn't know where it went. But hopefully, if we're able to retrieve the recording, we will post it at the 4+1 website or on that page, and you should have access.
A good question.
Mhm.
To me. Hopefully it goes to the cloud. I've had that same issue.
I
at
was
other
told, right, I was told that when we start, it's going to ask me, where to post it. It didn't ask me, so I don't know where it's going.
Mhm.
So hopefully we can track it and post it. Mhm.
I hope so, because this has happened to me as well. Where my recording has gone up in smoke and I don't know where it is. So hopefully that does not happen with this recording.
Mhm.
But do we have any other questions? I think we've answered, and if we have not adequately addressed your question, just let us know, please. We want to make sure that we are answering them in the very best way, so that you have a full understanding of how this program works. But right now, I see no additional questions, so I don't know if we want to move into closing remarks at this point.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we have. It's 7:27. And yes, I don't see any additional questions. So um, who would like to begin with closing remarks? All right, maybe since I'm speaking, I'll just start. So I'm happy that you registered and then joined today's webinar to learn about the 4+1 program. You've heard from Aliyah, you've heard from Hemela, who missed it by a few, I don't know whether a few weeks, but it's a great opportunity. And I've said severally in class that, getting a first degree is great, but a master's is even better. And we've outlined, pathways that can make it easier for you to move from your undergraduate degree or your undergraduate program to the master's program. So I'd like to encourage you all to think very carefully about this opportunity and to apply. It's a win-win. Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. King.
Thank you, Dr. Armstrong Mensa. Thank you all for attending tonight. This shows that you are committed to furthering your education, so we appreciate that for taking time out of your schedule to join us tonight. And definitely, consider it. Think about all of the options, the things that you can do with your MPH. And public health is not going anywhere. So thank you again. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I'll turn it over to Denise.
Yeah, I can definitely give some closing remarks. Just really thank you so much for joining us, taking time to learn about our 4+1 program. And as Dr. King just said, if you have any questions after this that pop up all of a sudden, you're like, I didn't ask that question. Feel free to reach out to any of us to get that question answered. That's what we're here for. So even if you didn't ask a question now, you can do so afterwards. And just thank you so much for joining us. And I also encourage you to apply. It is a wonderful opportunity.
Well, I'll go ahead and chime in and say thank you, everyone, for joining our call. If you have any questions about if you are a good candidate for the 4+1, I'm very open to having that conversation with you. Just send me an email and we can schedule an appointment and discuss if you're a great candidate. And if not, we'll discuss on how you can be a great candidate for the next cycle.
You chime in as well. Thank you all for coming. Just want to put out a reminder that the application deadline is March 2nd. So you might want to write that on your calendar because the date is fastly approaching.
Mm-hmm. Aliyah and Hemela, did you have anything to share? Any closing remarks?
Yeah, go
You
ahead,
can go
Lee.
ahead.
Okay, I would just definitely say take advantage of the program. Don't let it pass you by. And also be very mindful of the deadlines. And please, and I stress this a lot, please reach out and talk with your advisors.
I would also say, even if you miss this upcoming deadline, take this chance to reach out to your professors. as early as possible and reach out to professors where you know you did very well in their classes. Even if they don't remember you, just say, hey, this is my name. This is when I took your class. I got an A in your class. And maybe like send them your resume or your CV kind of so they can see what you're doing right now. But always make sure you try to do it as early as possible because your professors are busy. They have like a lot of students. They might not always remember you. So always try to like keep the email short and sweet and hit the high notes.